Dear viewers, I'm really very much delighted to talk to Varnam, and then she's speaking American pronunciation. So that means it's important to watch her videos. How can we develop our pronunciation, especially when we are learning English language? So Anam, tell me something about your English learning journey. How did it take place in your life, and then how did you become fluent in speaking English language?
Yeah, it all happened when the COVID-19 pandemic began. Since then, I have been brushing up on my English. What really happened was that my father just told me and guided me to learn English. I was sitting idle all day. Neither I took online classes of school, and I was just doing nothing. But then my father just got this idea of teaching me to speak English fluently, and therefore I just managed to have this thing that gets this passion in my mind that I have to do this. I have to learn to speak English fluently because I just thought that yeah, English is really an essential part of our daily life nowadays. And I just decided to pursue on my English. And after some time, when I used to learn English, I used to practice with movies, series, some shows. I also used to love to listen to songs in English and read some books. And what I did was that to catch up the accent they were trying to speak. And this was all about my journey because I just thought that the type of accent they speak is quite unique to me. I just want to pursue that accent instead of just acquiring my Indian accent. It's of course good, but I just wanted to try something different and try something which could help me pursue something more else in my life.
So, did you learn a language by yourself or you took help from some of the tutors, online tutors?
Not really. When I was just learning English, I just practiced some daily use English sentences as I just watched a series as I told earlier. And I did not took much help. Like I did not even go to coachings. All I did was by myself. My parents guided me, and they are the reason I am currently speaking right now English.
Oh, that's amazing that. So, what do you like to suggest for people, those who want to learn English language or those who have started, those who are planning to start learn this language? So, what kind of tips do you want to give for beginners? How can they have fluency within short period of time in the process of learning English language?
First of all, I just want them to just get this thing in their mind that you do not have to focus on grammar. When you start learning English, you don't really have to cram all the grammar rules because if you get stuck on those grammar rules, you will never be able to speak English fluently. The main reason behind this is that because whenever you try to speak English, you will just think like which rule should I use, like which should I use being or whatever there is. So you should definitely learn grammar, but not right in the beginning because in the beginning you should start practicing some tenses which are basically the let's say the most important part in your life and the daily use things that you need to say in your daily life. That's why you need to practice those tenses first and the phrases, idioms, whatever you need to learn. But don't focus on grammar right in the beginning. You need to focus, but after you speak English at quite a good level. Even I learned grammar, but not right in the beginning because I just was making too much mistakes when I used to speak English. Therefore, I just thought like it's all because I did not learn grammar. Then I pursued grammar. That's why you should pursue grammar after getting to upper intermediate level or even at an intermediate level. But don't start it when you are just a beginner.
So now question can be asked, can we learn English, can we speak English without learning grammar? What do you think about it? How that
Yeah,
is
you can
possible?
definitely speak. You can
How that's
definitely
possible?
speak English. It's possible because the more you speak, the more better you get this thing. Like the more English you will get on the tip of your tongue. Even I did not learn grammar. I just used to speak, but not that much good. But still, it was just like I could be handle some like I could handle some conversations in English and also speak at a good level because it's definitely possible. Because the more you speak, the more English fluently you will be able to speak. That's all. Because the more you speak, there's a thing like you need to practice. Practice makes a man perfect. That's why you need to practice as much as you can. It's not like you just practice one day, then you just leave it. I will be practicing tomorrow. I'll be practicing the day after tomorrow. Consistency is also one thing called in English, and you need to be consistent to learn any language. I'm not just talking about English.
Okay, now here I want to add something as you said about practice. And one more thing is that is without grammar. Okay, we can speak language. There is nothing wrong in that. Actually, what we have to keep in our mind, we should not be learning a lot of rules of grammar in order to waste our time, especially learning English language. what we should know, this is the way to speak English language. For example, you are speaking at this moment, so there are no grammatical errors. That means you know this is the way to speak, the sentence is making sense. If we just keep on practicing in broken sense, then chances are people may not like that kind of English. Have you heard about fluency versus accuracy? What does it mean? Let's
Yeah.
talk about it. What do you mean by fluency versus accuracy?
Well, I would just say there are these two things because fluency is like you have learned to speak a language if I talk about English, but there are some errors. But accuracy is that you are 101% accurate in speaking that language.
Absolutely. Now, when we talk about fluency versus accuracy, what does it mean? Fluency means that this is the natural way of speaking language. And then while speaking that language, you are confident, and then as well as you are comfortable. Fluency doesn't mean that how fast can I speak English in order to show someone that how fast can I go on. Rather, making a lot of mistakes. Speaking fast English in order to show someone with making a lot of mistakes, people may not like that kind of English, and we should not be following that kind of fluency also. And accuracy doesn't mean that speak very slow English. It can be 100% correct, as you said, that according to grammar. But maintaining fluency versus accuracy, it means that we should be fluent, comfortable, confident while talking, and then it should be accurate also. Now, fluency versus accuracy, as you said that about grammar, I do agree with you that learning English language, we should not much focus on grammar, in especially learning rules, wasting the time of learning. There are so many rules. We should learn that this is the way. Now, the second topic, second point, as you said, that practice. So many people, they keep on
Yeah.
saying, I have doubt on this. Many YouTubers and many people just practice, 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 practice makes so on. How that's possible? How that is possible? What do you think about it? How practice? What kind of
I will
practice?
always say
Hmm.
I will always say that you need to practice because I'm not going to change this thinking because that is exactly the true definition. Because I just think if you really want to speak a language, you need to practice as much as you can because it's all about speaking. Some people might forget this thing, like you need to practice. I know you are completely right about grammar as well, but not to debate on this topic. I just want to make things clear out because practice is also important, whereas grammar is also important on the other hand. I have already told this thing earlier. I just wanted to repeat it because grammar is also important, but don't forget practicing because it's the only way you can speak English. From my side, I just think it's my opinion. I'm not going to change it. Like I know you might have a different opinion according to yourself, so yeah, you can just put it on the other hand, but I just think practicing is my tip.
That's okay, but the question is how and what to practice. This is what I'm trying to ask, because a lot of a lot of
Okay.
YouTubers, they have been saying practice, just practice, practice, you will learn English. How to practice and what to practice?
First of all, yeah. First of all, take a movie or a series, whatever you like, and therefore what you need to do is stop, like, they might be speaking some sentences like whatever we are speaking right now, and then pause the video right there. Either watch it with subtitles because you need to understand what they're actually saying. Then watch it with subtitles first of all, and after that, you need to repeat what they are trying to say. So first of all, repeat that thing to the whole sentence, not just one time. It's all about practice the more you can. So practice it more than 50 times because it will a lot easier for you. Then you'll be able to use that sense also in your daily life. It's not about learning and practicing are two different things in English. If you learn, you will forget, but if you practice, you will not, because it will get on your mind. Of course it will get on your mind. You will always be able to speak whenever the situation comes. And if I talk about another thing, like, yeah, some people do say, you cannot be fluent by practicing, but I just think everyone has got their different opinions, and yeah, they should definitely follow theirs. And also that there is this thing, whatever you are trying to practice, just keep in mind that you need to follow what you can, you need to do what you want to. But it's still, yeah, I guess.
That's okay. That's okay. Actually, as you said that everybody have their own opinions and they can follow. That's okay. But then English is not yours. It is not mine. English is international language, so it's not going to work according to my way, according to my rules. We do need to maintain the standard of speaking language according to international perspective, how language really can be spoken out. So Why did I ask this question? Because a lot of YouTubers, they have been just saying practice, but question arises here: what to practice and how to practice? Any language you want to practice, you should have word power. We have to tell to
Yeah, that's
people,
right.
actually, if you want to practice, it's not like if you practice every day, how are you, how are you, how are you, 100 times, 1000 times, you think that you will speak English. You will only speak that one sentence which consists few words in that particular sentence. So practicing language will require having lot of vocabularies, having maximum words in that particular language. How can you gain that? By watching movies, as you said, maybe by reading, and then story, anything it can be. By listening, keep on listening more, keep on reading more, and then keep on watching something and trying to gain some words. First of all, to practice language, you should have words. Otherwise, what will you practice? If you have some range of vocabulary, you think that yes, I have at least words, now I need to try to speak them out in sentences. So speaking them in sentences, the chances are that you may make a mistake in the beginning, but at least you should be proud enough that you do have enough words to speak something, to talk something
Yeah,
with someone. Because we
that's right.
what whenever I keep on watching YouTube videos, most of the YouTubers just practice what to practice, how to practice. Before we practice, we need to examine ourselves: how many words do I know in English language? Think about your daily activities, what you do from morning till end, and then think, what are the English words am I going to use? My daily activities, do I know them in English language? Then the chances are that I'm going to be practicing. Otherwise, before I practice, I will get struggle finding out the right words. What word should I practice? I know practice is very important, but it's going to be depending on the word power. Gaining word power, very very important. And then second part, while practicing, chances are that try to maintain fluency and accuracy. It's not like become habitual of practicing wrong English. People may not like that kind of English also. I'm not saying that we should be wasting our time learning a lot of rules of grammar in the process of learning language. Rather, whatever we know, whatever word we have, try to form sentences using words and sentences. Words can be gained, sentences can be gained by watching movie. As you said, you need to keep on repeating after them. What were they saying? How were they saying? And then
Yeah,
another way of practicing language, it can be learning question answer method of learning English language. How questions can be asked in English language, how questions can be understood in English language, finally, how questions can be responded in English language. Now, what do you want to add in practice session? When we talk about practice English, what to practice, how to practice, we are trying to deal that. Yeah, go on now.
yeah, about vocabularies, I guess even when you watch movies or shows or whatever you like, then you will also get to hear those words, whatever they are saying, because they're not just gonna be going easy like all the time, because you also might find some movies where they use hard vocabularies. You can also read books. Like you should definitely read books or novels or whatever kind you like, and you also need to search up on Google like some types of things where you need to find out some let's say hardest vocabulary novels. Like there are some good, no, good writers, authors. I just want to add Shashi Tharoor in this because he is really an amazing, one of the best authors here, and I just really love to read his books as well. And there is, I would just, as the viewers might be watching this video, I could just recommend them this book, India from Midnight to the Millennium and Above, because and beyond, or it's like that. You can just search it because you will be able to learn more vocabularies from this book. The more you learn, the more better you get to speak at English. And of course, I just want to add this thing. If you say, like, you might say people might not like the way you speak. I just think you need to focus on your goals. I know people might not like the way you try to speak in English, but sometimes you need to think about how you speak, because you should try to improve yourself. Because sometimes people might say, like, hey, you're not doing like this, you're not speaking like that, or whatever, blah blah. These types of things keep going on, and these types of people keep demotivating us from reaching our goal. So therefore, what we need to do is that you need to never get demotivated by these types of things, and you need to think like we can improve instead of being demotivated by those things. We can get motivation and try to improve ourselves instead of feeling so down and losing hope. But also sometimes think about yourself instead of caring about other people, because they're only here to mock you, nothing else.
Yes, I do agree with your motivation in the process of learning language, that's okay. No, I mean to say that people may not like it. It means that making a lot of mistakes while talking with someone, and then
Yeah.
speaking fast English with a lot of mistakes, speaking very slow English, it is accurate. That kind of English people may not like in the presentation, something like that. People may not say directly you, but this is what we need to maintain: fluency versus accuracy. And then second thing is that if you are practicing language, you should not be worried about what people will think, because language, it can be improved by practicing, and for practice we need a lot of word power, as I already mentioned, which is very, very
Yeah.
important. Okay, and then next question, what I was thinking we should be discussing. So what about the speaking skill? Speaking is the most neglected skill in the process of learning language. People living in our country, you know that our country has got the official language in English. Language is our official language. Official language means, whatever the documentation works, so and so, it's mostly is happening in English language. So people living in our country, they know English, they read English, they understand English. Some of the teachers, they do teach English also, but when it comes to speaking out English, people do neglect this speaking skill. So what do you think about why do people neglect speaking skill in the process of learning English language?
I just think speaking and practicing is almost the same thing, because speaking is like practicing and practicing is like speaking. Because of course now you might have listened to me if earlier, and then you might have understood by what I mean by this and why people neglect this skill. I'm not really sure, because I just cannot be like someone who can predict someone else's opinion. Therefore, there are some types of incidents where people just neglect this skill because they think reading books or writing is the most important skill, though writing is important only when you are like working for someone, for an official company, or you need to write a letter or whatever in English. But when it comes to speaking, you get stuck, you fumble a lot just because you don't really know. You might know a lot of words, vocabularies, but you haven't practiced. You haven't got your speaking skills that much yet. Then why? Just because you haven't practiced? So no use.
Okay, so now why actually I have been teaching language, so I have observed that why people are neglecting speaking skill. So there are few reasons, like fear of making mistakes, and then feeling shy. Sometimes they don't have confidence, and then sometimes they do have a lot of a hesitation that when I speak language, what people will think, and they feel more comfortable to talk in their own language, though they are learning English language. Also, various reasons are there: fear of making mistakes, hesitation, feeling shy, not feeling comfortable, and then thinking that if I speak, if I make mistake, what people will think. So no one can learn language without making mistake. It's going to be happening in
Yeah.
the beginning itself, that we should be keeping in our minds, but we need to practice, because if we don't practice whatever we know, so we are not going to speak this particular language. What do you think about it?
About it exactly, I just think people might just think like that, but it's all about one's opinion. Because I just really don't have much to add in this, I guess. Because all of the it comes all of the same thing in the end about practicing speaking.
Okay, and what are the skills which should be developed in the process of learning English language?
Definitely speaking first of all. After that, you can continue with reading skills, and the rest of them will be continued later after you can speak English and get your practicing skills done.
All right, and what are the methods which should be followed in the process of learning this language?
As I mentioned earlier, it's only practice. This is the only method to speak English fluently. I can just never change my words because it's all I have done. I have also, I'm not just telling that, you can learn practice by learn practicing or whatever, you can speak English fluently, just practice, practice. I'm not really saying that, but I have done it practically by myself. I have seen the results by myself. That's why I'm here saying confidently that you need to practice only. That's how you can speak English fluently. If I hadn't learned English, if I hadn't seen the results, then I wouldn't be here speaking at this moment that you have to practice. And because I would just say this tip really works, that's why I am maintaining this one.
All right, absolutely. Actually, there are some methods in the beginning, those who want to learn English language. for the beginners. First one is called grammar translation method, because English is not our mother tongue, so people might not be able to learn English to English and might not able to practice also until unless they don't understand what is that. And second one is called a direct structure method of learning language, which is English to English. It does not ignore grammar also, but it gives much importance to the sentence patterns, how the sentences are being formed, and then how should you be practicing. So these are the things it should be kept in our mind. In your case, actually, you started to speak learning language because you already knew basic English. We are talking about the
No,
people those basic means you know at you knew some few words in English language.
not
You
even that. I was just a kid. I was
Mhm.
probably around 8 years. I'm not really sure, but I just think yeah, I might have been 8 years old, and I did not know anything. I used to go to school, but neither I had developed my speaking skills nor my writing skills or whatever in English. I did not know anything. That's why it was even so hard for me. But I did not give up.
All right, so that means you have learned this language by listening and by watching movies in a regular basis, and
Yeah,
then after that doing practice. Yeah, this is called the listening and speaking skill. So any language we learn in the beginning, first of all, there comes the listening skill. Listening skill. Listen carefully how people speak. So you spent your lot of time listening from others, how people are speaking, and then after that you started to practice how people were
yeah.
saying and then how they said. So it helped you a lot. So first step of learning language, that's called listening. Listen carefully how people speak, how do they pronounce words, and after that keep on practicing as you did. So I do appreciate you. Now let's talk about another important questions. What is the importance of English language in your life? You need to
In my
speak
life,
more
I
so
just
that I get
think
more chance to hear from you.
I just think English nowadays is just a language which is necessary so much and crucial, because even though when I go to school, there are some chances which you will be able to get if you are really good in speaking English. And not only that, there are some students who are also provided them, but there is this thing. I just think English has made so much difference from me. Like, I was quite different back then. Now I am completely different from how I really was, because my perspective of thinking has completely changed about learning languages.
Okay, I was expecting a little long answer from you because you do have ability to speak. So no problem. I'm asking you one more question, which is going to be related to your speaking
Well,
practice.
I just think hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, but okay, so yeah, now I can. I was just like hello. I was just hearing your voice in and out at the moment.
All right. So I'm going to be asking you one more question, and then it will help me to understand your speaking. So listen the question very carefully. And question is, describe a teacher who has influenced you a lot in your education.